This video is sponsored by PokemonStore.com, the best place to get yourself some TCG code cards. They're compatible with TCG Live as well, and they literally have everything. Use the coupon code ZapDoesTCG for 5% off on everything on the website. This video is also sponsored by CardsMarket.com. This is a European platform where you're able to buy and sell cards to people all across Europe. I personally use it every single day, and you can use the referral name ZapDoesTCG when creating an account. Also, this video is sponsored by YourPlaymat.com, the best website to create your own unique custom playmat from scratch. They ship worldwide, and you can get 10% off by clicking the link down below. How cool is that? Last but not least, this video is sponsored by DragonShield.com, the best website to, of course, buy accessories. They have sleeves, they have binders, they literally have everything you want to start playing competitively. Or, yeah, if you're a collector, you can also get some fresh-looking clear fit sleeves. They have everything. Check the link down below, of course, the affiliated link, and you're going to be helping out the channel so much. Thanks for sticking around with the commercials, and I'll see you guys shortly. Peace. What's up YouTube, it's ZapDoesTCG here, and welcome back to our TCG video on my channel. Today we're going to be analyzing the meta of Brisbane Stars. We've already have 2 weeks of play on play.limitlesstcg.com to have, of course, an analysis of data to conclude which decks are the best to pick for regionals and why. Of course, the Brisbane Regionals starts this weekend, and I cannot wait to see which deck comes out on top. If you have any bets you want to be placing, which deck will win Brisbane Regionals, be sure to let me know in the comments below. On top of that, there's also Salt Lake City and, of course, the Liverpool Regionals. There's so many regionals happening all across the world in real life that I'm very, very eager to just showcase the meta that has been, acquired here. Big shout out to TrainerHill.com, which actually provides all the data, and the data comes from, of course, play.limitlesstcg.com tournaments. So, as we can see, this is the popular decks. As you can see, the most popular deck, as we can see here on the top here, is Mew VMAX, which we've already talked about. Arceus Duraludon followed up by second place, then Gengar. There's Calyrex Inteleon. That's actually based on popularity, which is pretty interesting. And there's also Rapid Strike Malamar, Durant, Eternatus, Arceus Moltres, so that's pretty much Arceus Toolbox. There's Dark Box, indicating Galarian Wheezing Sableye, aka Galarian Moltres build. There's also Suicune Ludicolo, Umbreon, Urshifu, and Jolteon. Inteleon still seems to be hanging around there in the meta game. So these are all the decks you should prepare for. There's also like very rogue decks like, of course, Mad Party, Victini, and of course Arceus Inteleon is an underdog deck. Looks like Leafeon and Sylveon are nowhere to be found, and yeah, we're gonna see if one of these rogue decks might potentially win one of the regionals that I mentioned. So Brisbane Regionals happening this weekend, and I'm going to showcase. These are actually the matchup spread based on 5 minimum played games of 5, and yeah, based across all the popular decks. So you can actually see that all that data over at TrainerHill.com. Before we take a look at what is actually having a great matchup spread, we're going to be taking a look at what is popular. As you can see here, we're going to be talking about the tournament that happened on the 8th of March, of course, late night 30. These are actually tournaments that are very impactful because they have so many players. As you can see, how many players were there? 340, so we do have data. We see that Mew VMAX still comes out on top, and we're going to be taking a look at a list real quick to see what they are rocking with. So they are playing a one-off Peony. That's something I immediately noticed on top of the Echoing Horn. Will Echoing Horn be a mainstay in Mew? I think it's nice to just, of course, when you knock out something like a Crobat, you can use Echoing Horn to get it back on, of course, the bench and just knock it out again, because there's, of course, access to none other than the 3 copies of the Balsasaurus on top of 2 Escape Rope to make stuff happen. I really like this list. They're not running Pumpkaboo. Instead, they go for 4 copies of the Stadium cards on top of 4 Chromatic. That probably gets them out of the situation most of the time, definitely with Peony in here. So a very solid list here. Mew. Still, yeah, you can just pilot Mew to a regionals. You're probably going to be doing well if you're still looking to get those last couple of championship points to, of course, qualify for the World Championships. And I do suggest picking Mew, although picking Mew also has a little bit of a downside. If you come across a lot of Darkness decks, you won't be happy. Talking about, yeah, some other decks that are very, very good right now. This is, we're going to be seeing the Inteleon with Pure Arceus. This is an interesting build because the Dunsparce actually over here allows you to, of course, get rid of that fighting type weakness on Arceus. And Arceus with Big Charm has 310 HP, which is pretty tanky. And you can, of course, utilize the Chair and Scare to, of course, loop it, which is super nice. If you use that twice, you're probably going to be winning the game because 200 damage output is very strong. In my opinion, you might think, this list needs Choice Belt, but there's the Quick Shooting Intellion to make sure you can get KOs. There's also the 1 prize Farfetch, which you can just give the opponent just to go for the 7 prize game, which is super nice. Love to see that. 2 copies of Path to the Peak. You don't want to be running more, otherwise you shut down your own ability, but this is a deck that is a little bit slept on and a little bit under the radar. Will it actually see success? Who knows, but this time around they got 2nd place. We're going to be making a video about that tomorrow probably. There's the 3rd place winning Arceus Toolbox. Or no, it's Malamar of all things. Okay, as I could say, Arceus with something dark. Whether it's Galarian Moltres package, this is very unique to see that Malamar with hammers is doing well. So Malamar VMAX, the Max Jammer, allows you to put 1 card of the opponent's hand on the bottom of the deck, if I'm not mistaken. So this actually allows for some very nasty plays where you can put, of course, the opponent's research on the bottom of the deck and they break out of nowhere on top of Crushing Hammer and Path to the Peak. Like this list, we're gonna have to try this out on the channel as well. So that actually got 3rd place, and I think the reason for that is that if we take a look at what happened here. So if we take a look at the matches, you did see, look at this, Mew, 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 Mew. So they see so many Mews that it's successful. So as I was saying, playing Mew also has a downside. You have a target on your head. Moving forward, we're going to be seeing an Ice Rider over here. Ice Rider Calyrex VMAX, left alone Arceus VSTAR, and just went straight on for consistency with only utilizing the shady dealings. There's also one of Suicune in here, which I really like because of the fact that with Choice Belt, you're actually going to be hitting some serious numbers with that Blizzard Rondo. Definitely on top of Leon and Quick Shooting. Love that. Raihan in here as well, so you can sometimes attack with the shady dealings and Talion, allowing for some very funky plays against 1 prize decks like Malamar or something like a Durant, for instance. Although you will not be able to utilize Raihan against Durant, but you get the point. It's a 1 prize deck that spreads damage, which is always good. You also have Scoop Up Net. I like this list. We also 3 copies of Path to the Peak. So whether you're playing Darkness or Path to the Peak, you're going to be doing good because Mew is actually almost like 25% of the meta share sometimes. So it's between like 18 and 25, but Mew seems to be everywhere. There's also Duraludon builds. Probably going to be seeing that Riley list that we've seen, of course, from the Full Grip game tournaments. This time around, they opted to go for a split Crystal Cave and Collapse Stadium. Like that a little bit more. Other than that, this seems like a very consistent list with 4 Pokegear, but even on top of that, if you get Path to the Peak instantly, you might actually brick with this deck, which of course, it all comes down to the start burf, and if you don't find your stadium in time, that's what could go wrong. And also this list, funky enough, is only running 2 Duraludon, 3 Duraludon VMAX, but no Single Strike Mustard. So that's a little bit of a strange mix-up, I would say. I don't know if I'm liking that. Maybe they cut Single Strike for something else and I forgot that they are playing a 2-3 line. But yeah, this also seems to be doing very well in the meta game. Okay, other than that, there's another Mew, and I think this is going to be Arceus Toolbox here, ending at the number 8 spot. Exactly, that's what we're seeing. I'm always a fan of the unique decks like this. As you can see, there's Arceus VSTAR, utilizing Star Buff to get any of these attackers out. You can use Galarian, Zapdos V, you could be utilizing the Hoopa to knock out Urshifus, you can be utilizing the Yveltal to get rid of 3 special energies. You can get whatever you want, and you can utilize the Star Buff ability to make it happen. I really enjoy this, playing with this Arceus Toolbox as well, because there's Zapdos in it, of course it is. So that is the top 8 deck list, and there's also a Jolteon at the 9th spot, and that was actually Joshua Sutherland, so a very well-known player in the community. Let's see here what he's rocking with the Jolteon 9th place. 4 Path to the Peak, 1 fan of Waves, and just 1 Cheryl. Just as something we've come to know with Jolteon, and Jolteon might surprisingly win the Brisbane Regionals out of nowhere because nobody is stacking those funky Manaphy cards. Yeah, that is the conclusion out of a 340 player event. We're also going to be taking a look at some more. The Chrome Bowler series, also 70 players, might be impactful. We don't see deck list, but we see Mew coming on top again. Mew, Gengar is also a little bit around, and those 1 prize Darkness. So Darkness and Mew are highly present at a lot of these tournaments. Let's see here. This is the Gazer Beam Tourney of Dreams 4. Again, Mew VMAX comes out on top, and this time around we're going to be seeing if this Mew VMAX is a little bit different than the rest. It is, because it's not running any copy of single energies, not Psychic type basic energies. Instead, they opted to go for 3 double turbo energies on top of 2 choice belts, 4 power tablet, less a sparkle, and of course the Oricorio to protect the bench. Still, Echoing Horn being rocked in Mew VMAX. Interesting to see that people have hopped onto the Echoing Horn. There's also another Duraludon Arceus, and then a pure Arceus, and then something unknown. And there's also a Rapid Strike Inteleon list that we're going to be taking a look at. We're going to be taking a look at the Duraludon list first. Nothing else to see here. This is almost the exact same thing that we saw Rally win the Fullgrave Games event with. So also for Pokegear again. What else? Yeah, we do see that the pure Arceus build, that is with Stone Journer of all things. I think, yeah, Little Dark Fury piloted something very peculiar. Reminds us a lot of Duraludon, but instead of going for Duraludon, they opted to go for the Stone Journer VMAX. Stone Journer VMAX, of course, has that tanky capabilities, of course, by utilizing Lucky Ice Pop and Hyper Potion and all that great stuff to just out-heal opponents. It's basically the exact same shell that Duraludon has, but instead of Duraludon, they're playing Stone Journer VMAX, and they just cut down stuff like Single Strike Mustard and things like that to add in the Stone Journer. Pretty cool to see that some very rogue decks like Malamar VMAX is very surprising. Everything with Arceus basically can become good, which is something that helps out a lot of deck building. There's some sort of a Wormadam that's doing pretty well. You should try this list out. We should check that out on the channel as well. This is hitting for weakness. You can utilize Wormadam to hit Arceus for weakness. You can use Wormadam, the metal type version, to of course slap down stuff like Ice Rider. There's also a Weezing in here, so the Zoroark basically can turn into any one of these Pokemon. And there's a lot of Pokemon in here. Chinchino puts them in a discard pile, and the more Pokemon that are in the discard pile, the more damage you're dealing with that Wormadam. Pretty cool to see. Love to see that. I wonder if one of these rogue decks will actually do very well in the Brisbane Regionals. There's an Inteleon VMAX with one line of Urshifu VMAX. On top of that, we do see that the Octillery fetches everything from the deck, and with Choice Belt, you're finally able to hit some significant numbers and trying to two-shot with Inteleon VMAX. Don't know if it's going to be that good, but it's still around though. It's still around. Okay. So we've seen a lot of decks popping around. I have not seen a Gengar list that we can take a look at, but all of these lists do look very appealing to play. I probably would, if I would to go and play a regional right now, probably would be picking something like Mew VMAX just because it's safe, or the Arceus VSTAR counter box. Those two seem to be my choices for now. We're going to be taking a look at the Domination Blown Presence. Okay, that's also a tournament we're going to be seeing. Mew VMAX coming on top. So the theory is clear, right? Mew VMAX wins almost all events. It is super consistent, it is super strong, and not even if you want to counter it, Mew VMAX could still go for that Meloanodon. So there's seriously something wrong with the power creep. This the only S tier deck, whether you're countering it or, of course, you're dodging the Mew VMAXs, right? So if you're playing and going to a tournament, if you have a deck that has an auto loss against Mew, you probably shouldn't play it because Mew is highly present and doing very well. And we do see another Duraludon list, probably with the same stuff we've seen. Although this opponent, actually this player decided to go for Crystal Cave over the Collapse Stadium. Collapse Stadium is pretty interesting against stuff like Malamar, and I don't see Malamar anywhere. Could that be a sleeper deck? There's also this 10th place Gengar list I want to be taking a look at, because Gengar is, of course, one of those decks that if you come across a lot of great matchups, this is probably the build I would play. Very consistent, very good for Path to the Peak. I only thing that I'm missing here personally is some copies of Choice Belt. So whether cut down a Bidoof and a Houndour for 2 Choice Belt, it is your choice, but I love the fact, maybe a Bossasaurus, right? Just cut down Bossasaurus and cut down a Bidoof and add, of course, and those Choice Belts, they really come in handy in the Gengar list. Alright, moving forward, the Tournament of Doom, 69 players, and Ice Rider came out on top. There's also the Suicune Ludicolo that came fourth. We have not seen a Suicune Ludicolo list quite yet, and there's, of course, his first place winning Ice Rider list. Ice Rider with Arceus, some 4 Path to the Peak. Isn't that a little bit much? I understand the appeal because Path to the Peak shuts down opposing Arceus VSTAR. So once you use your ability, you can overlap the Path to the Peak. Actually, you can slap down Path to the Peak, and opponent's Arceus VSTAR abilities will no longer work. Fusion Strike system will no longer work, etc. So you have to be careful of Path to the Peak, by the way. Then we have the Suicune Ludicolo. Opted to go for 1 type of toughness and more damage output with Choice Belt, with Ludicolo, with, of course, Quick Shooting, with Choice Belt. You're gonna get some crazy potential with Suicune to one-hit KO some opponents. So still a solid deck because it's one of the 2 prize Pokemon that are still doing very well in this format. All the rest is being carried, of course, by the Arceus VSTAR, which is also a 2-prizer, or of course a Mew engine. So looking interesting. So Mew and Arceus seem to be the big winners in the Brisbane Stars format. And if it's not clear right now, look at this top 8. Mew, Arceus, and there's Arceus Toolbox and Jolteon. Jolteon is a sleeper deck, as mentioned, could be winning tournaments as well. Moving forward, there's on the 5th of March, there was that GG Tour Chill TCG Showdown. And what do we see here? Mew winning again! So there's seriously, the Mew is very strong. There's also Gengar. This Gengar list needs to play Choice Belt. Then I'll be satisfied. Only then I will be satisfied. Okay, what do they play? They are playing... Nope, they are not doing it. They are not doing it. They're just playing this this list that has to be one of the lists that I see across a lot with Gengar. No Choice Belts. Probably would include them. Lots of Duraludon in that tournament with the GG Chill series. Okay. Which tournament should we check out next? There was a tournament, the Gnarly Knight, with 101 players. Definitely something we should take a look at. Oh, yo, what do you see? Mew VMAX winning a tournament. I want to see what this Mew VMAX has to offer. It's a Japanese list, so might also be funky. No, it's just the exact same thing we've got to know. Probably one of the lists I've seen a lot. 2 switches, 1 rope. 4. I see the Pumpkaboo in here. So they 3 Rose Tower. Okay. So they are of course trying to get that turn 1 donk off by utilizing 3 Malamar and Rose Tower to just of course draw more cards on top of Fusion Strike system and 4 Rotom Phone. So this is the donk build of Mew, if I'm being honest. 10. This was undefeated, by the way. Redonkulous. That's crazy, man. We also see Durant popping up, and there was of course that first place winning Durant list that everybody caught off guard. There's, oh, look at this, quite refreshing. Sylveon VMAX with Arceus. There's Umbreon and Single Strike, and I also want to be taking a look at Gengar and the Durant, which actually was the Durant that first place winning shenanigans. I already made a video about Durant. Oh, this is running the Bibarel engine. Looks very similar to the build I've posted like 2 months ago. I'm glad to see that Durant is seeing some play. There's that, oh yeah, this is the preferred build. This is it. This is what I would play. So double Choice Belt, 4 Path to the Peak, strong as ever. 2 True Bibarel, yeah, that's exactly what I would play. Gengar VMAX, super solid. Try it out for yourself. Definitely want to be crazy on the Mew praying, so you just want to knock out some Mews. This is Single Strike Urshifu VMAX, with of course the Morpeko for the Mew matchup to just knock out those pesky Mew VMAXs, which seem to be dominating all the tournaments. There's a cool looking Sylveon VMAX list, which utilizes Crobat VMAX of all things, which of course can one-shot stuff like the Mew VMAX, and you of course have ways to E-switch some, do I see E-switch? I don't see them. I really don't see them. There's Darkness Energies, of course the Ditto can turn, oh yeah, I can see how you can get this off. You use Arceus VSTAR, you throw on some basic energies across your V Pokemon. Out of nowhere, the Crobat could be turning into Crobat VMAX and could be knocking out Mew VMAXs. Oh yeah, that's interesting. Ditto can transform into anything you want. So Sylveon, Urshifu, Arceus. Wow, I'm glad to see this got first place. Will we see more? Who knows? Okay, the Liam Kit qualifier on the 3rd of March. We're just going to be closing all these tabs now because otherwise there's just too many open. Look at all that information you're going to swallow up to just make sure what is the best deck in the format. What should he play? There's another Inteleon engine with Ice Rider that got first place with Suicune. So looks like Suicune, the one-off Suicune, seems to be a mainstay. Other than that, all the decks we've seen before. Nothing new under the horizon. A 303 late night tournament, and there's the one that Durant won, and there's also a funky Victini that we're going to be taking a look at. Look at this. This is Durant, got first place. We've checked out this list before on the channel. Most of these lists we're going to be checking out or eventually checked out. So you trap the opponent with Galarmine. If they only have 1 Pokemon the active, you utilize Echoing Horn, get high retreat Pokemon from the discard on their bench, gust it up with the high amount of Bossasaurus and just trap them with Galarmine and utilize Devour to just mill the opponent until they have 0 cards in their deck and you win the game. I love the alternate win condition. I'm glad Durant is part of our metagame. There's also Victini VMAX getting help with Moltres and Entei and a lot of Crobat and Lumineon. pretty crazy because, like, if you take a look at it, there's also 2 copies of Leon. Victini with max victory slaps 220. With, of course, Choice Bell, that's 250. With Leon, that's 280, which can knock out Arceus VMAX. You're right. Cool to see that this is a deck. You don't no longer need like ways to just wait a turn. You can of course accelerate with the Magma Basin. Cool, love to see that list. Okay, what else can we just take a look at? This is the complete rundown on the biggest tournaments that have happened. Yeah, Brilliant Stars Legal. That was one of the first ones, the Sunday Open, and I think this is the one that utilizes the Wheezing. So yeah. Wheezing build, having that one of Galarian and Zapdos to just punish those Arceus players, and just if they have too many V Pokemon, bam, out of nowhere, you of course can get some stuff off with Raihan. Raihan onto Galarian Zapdos can surprisingly knock out Pokemon when they least expect it, and of course the Galarian Wheezing shuts down any ability in play. Moltres, the one prizer here, can just get energies into play, and of course, being of course a Darkness type helps you out against the Mew VMAX matchup. What else that was in that tournament, by the way? A lot of Mew and a lot of Duraludon. And what else? This was the Sunday Open. Anything else yeah, Brilliant Stars Legal. This is one of the first one, the Full Grip Games event. And that was where they didn't have the statistics. But as we've seen, that was the Duraludon list with Riley, of course, having 4 collapsed stadium. Now taking a look at the data that I've collected from the entire Brilliant Stars 2 weeks legality. We see that, of course, the Mew VMAX is the best deck in the format. What is the matchup spread for Mew VMAX? That's what we want to be seeing here. What do we see? We see Mew VMAX having a favorable matchup against the Duraludon. Arceus Inteleon is difficult for Mew VMAX because, of course, they can share and scare loop, and of course, they can, of course, have the path to the peak, slowing you down, and they can gust up Genesects. There's Arceus Moltres, which is actually toolbox, is 50-50, so and actually is still in the favor of Mew VMAX of all things. Even if you want to counter Mew VMAX's matchup spread, is highly in favor of Mew. Mew winning almost all events is just yeah, giving strength to the way it is the best deck in the format. What are the clearly favorable matchups? Mew VMAX versus Unreal Urshifu. I wonder how that is. This is with people probably not playing the Morpeko, so this lowers the amount down, but there's also a lot of players that probably are not expecting Mew VMAX to just donk them or whatever, but it seems like that Umbreon Urshifu is not countering Mew VMAX, other than, I think the worst matchup is Gengar, I think, yeah. Gengar is the worst matchup on top of the Arceus Inteleon build, so one of these, Rapid Strike Malamar, yeah, that's also something we didn't see being played too often, but it looks like Malamar has a favorable matchup against Mew. So if you want to be meeting Mew, Gengar, Malamar, or yeah, Arceus Inteleon are probably the picks for you. Talking about Malamar, let's see, there's way too low of win percentage, and that's probably because Malamar always whiffs like one card. Ah, if I had one extra Rapid Strike card, I would have won. Ah, I had a terrible start. If I had a great start, I would have won. So Malamar's on paper is the best deck in the format because it's a one-price Pokemon, being able to one-hit KO anything, and of course it doesn't have a single weakness around it, although stuff like Galarian Weezing could still have it as a little bit of a bad matchup. Malamar suffers, it's like the Blacephalon syndrome, right? It is the best deck in the format, but it suffers consistency, so you need to be making Rapid Strike Malamar the most consistent deck ever. I just hope that the randomization of course, drawing cards allows you to get a lot of Rapid Strike cards in hand, because sometimes you utilize Cynthia's Ambition to get Cynthia's Ambition, a Research, and Chinchino or whatever, all cards that are not Rapid Strike, and you say like, rats, I lost the game. So that could happen, but in a best of 3 format, Rapid Strike Malamar could be the choice for you. What else is a great pick? Of course, we also didn't talk about Eternatus. Eternatus also has some bad matchups, it seems. What is here is the Arceus Toolbox. Has a lot of favorable matchups, as you can see. A lot of them. So this seems to be one of the decks that probably will be top 8ing the Brisbane Regionals for sure. Arceus Toolbox has, of course, a bad matchup against Calyrex and Inteleon, which is able to one-shot with the Choice Belt on top of Leons and stuff. Okay, the Duraludon also seems to be having some great matchups. As you can see, the matchup spread, like you win against Malamar, you win against Suicune Ludicolo. Have a bad matchup against Mew though, but maybe you can put it in your favor by, of course, adding some of these tech cards. There is having a favorable matchup against Jolteon, against Gengar, against Like, this is also a great matchup, by the way. Matchup spread for Arceus Duraludon. So I see the appeal of Duraludon, but having a bad matchup against Mew scares me from playing that archetype. There's also Calyrex, seeing some great success here and there. Of course, with this high amount of Path to the Peak, you might be able to win against Mew Genesect. So all of these decks are great picks for the regionals. And I probably, yeah, except for Jolteon. Jolteon's matchup spread seems to be not too good right now, as well as Single Strike Box. So, and Inteleon, actually, and Suicune also doesn't have the best matchup spread. But let me know in the comments, what do you think will win the Brisbane Regionals or the Salt Lake City Regionals or the Liverpool Regionals even? I want to hear your opinions down below. If you enjoyed this video of meta analysis, be sure to let me know by rocking the hell out of the like button. I take a lot of time and effort into just, yeah, creating these kind of videos to just analyze all the best decks in the format and to give you guys a head start, of course, what to be playing for your regional championship. Anyhow, if you enjoyed, let me know. Rock the hell out of the like button. I appreciate it so much. And yeah, go check out our sponsors. There is, of course, PoketownStore.com getting you covered if you're looking for TCGO code cards. They are, of course, legal for, yeah, also working for TCG Live. So go check out the Poketown Store. Get 5% off your order by, of course, utilizing the coupon code ZapdosTCG. There's also the Card Market website, allowing you to buy and sell cards to people all across Europe. So European players, use the referral name ZapdosTCG. There's yourplaymat.com if you are in the dire need to create your custom playmat for in real life tournaments. Yeah, you can do that right now. Click the link down below and get 10% of your order. They ship worldwide, so what are you waiting for? Last but not least, Dragon Shield is also one of my sponsors. Of course, having access to Dragon Shield accessories is the best thing ever because they have sleeves, deck boxes, and binders. You can get them as well by clicking the link down below. Anyhow, have yourself a fantastic rest of your day, and the question is clear. What do you think will win the first regionals in 2 years? Let me know in the comments below, and I'll see you guys tomorrow for more Pokemon TCG epicness. I'm out. Peace!